why the flood came and why fire must come next. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak, Wadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakatum. And I'm going to play a little bit of this video. It is very disturbing, but these are your leaders on the world stage, the World Economic Forum, yet again in the news, speaking great things against the Most High, because these things are not the ways of life. Okay, the agenda that's planned for the population at large are not the ways the Most High gave to the children of Israel when He said, "Choose ye this day life or death." You know, He said, "Choose life." Okay, this is not that way. Okay, these people are a backwards and perverse nation. We'll play the video and you'll see what I'm referring to. Lord will. You know, YouTube doesn't, you know, try to get, scrutinize this, you know, and you know, do their thing, you know, but let's play. We'll get some precepts and you'll see why I'm titling the video this, okay?
They said it quietly at first, just a few so-called experts whispering it on obscure panels. But now it's out in the open. Pedophilia is being rebranded. According to scientists tied to the World Economic Forum, attraction to children isn't just normal, it's healthy, it's natural. And worse, they're now claiming that we're all on the pedophilia spectrum. The mainstream media has already begun normalizing it. Articles, TV shows, TED Talks, all carefully framed to condition your mind. The mask is coming off. The elites aren't hiding their agenda anymore. What was once whispered in the shadows, shows, TED Talks, all carefully framed to condition your mind. The mask is coming off. The elites aren't hiding their agenda anymore. What was once whispered in the shadows is now being paraded in plain sight. This isn't progress. It's a psychological operation. Tonight, we tear back.
Fair use, by the way. This has got to go, man. Okay. First scripture that comes to mind is Isaiah 19 and 14. All right. Really, the whole chapter, the 19th chapter, or a big chunk of it goes hard, pretty good with this. But this is Isaiah chapter 19. I'll start at verse 13. It says, "The princes of Zoan are become fools." Okay, the princes of Noph are deceived. All right, Zoan and Noph, those were cities, strongholds in Egypt, and I believe Noph is where they had their councils for war and things of that nature. You know, like in Game of Thrones, you had they had something called Dragonstone, where it was an island basically. They would have their big strategy table to battle out, to plan out battles and things of that nature. You know, in the 7 realms. All right, I believe Noph was one of the cities in Egypt that served that purpose. It says they also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, a perverse spirit. Okay, I'm going to look up the word perverse. I don't think I looked this Hebrew word up before. Let's see. Hawa'ayim. Distorting, perverting, warping. That's what perverse means when you bend something. That's basically what the word wicked or wickedness goes into. Okay, the word wicked comes from the word Wicca, which is a religion of the witchcraft, and that word Wicca goes back to bending something or twisting something. Okay, it's a perversion of nature. Okay, that's basically what it is. When the Lord said in the book of Genesis, it is good, and He gave Adam the commandments and the laws on how to manage it in its proper order. Anything outside of that really is a form of witchcraft. Okay, and there's more blatant forms of it, you know. But this is why the scriptures say rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Because you want to change nature, you want to pervert things in nature. It's rebellious. It's rebellious to the way that the Most High created. And you see, and this is the foundation of this world. It's perverseness. Okay, and you know, y'all about to act all shocked about how they're promoting things like you know, everybody's on the spectrum of being a PDF file. Okay, y'all are shocked, but everything has been perverse here. Okay, you shrugged your shoulders at the rainbow. You shrugged your shoulders at no fault divorce. Let women do whatever they want. Let them walk around with no clothes on. Where did you think this was going? Okay, you think there's a line that they're not going to cross? No, there's no line that they won't cross, and I'll get a precept to prove that as well. Okay, but continuing on, it says, verse 14, the Lord Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. They have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof. Every work. Everything that's natural, he's put his grubby hands on it and tried to change it or taint it in some way, shape, or form. Family, okay? All of nature, all of the vegetation, all of the fruit, the vegetables, you know, the cows, the animals, they've all had these weird breeds of things. Everything. The air, the atmosphere, the rivers, the sea, the ocean, okay? He's chopping down trees, he's planting a bunch of male trees, you know, and everywhere he goes, it's basically a destruction. It's a trail of death, okay? And now you're about to reap the benefits of your negligence, you people, okay? Saying love is love and let things be, long as they ain't hurting nobody. Well, you have to have the foresight as men to see where things are going, okay? You're supposed to do something about it, okay? Let's play more. This is a long video. This is on Rumble. It's about 18 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just heard the first part of it, and I decided to just do a lesson. All right.
Because as we speak, the wolves are at the door, and if we don't stop this agenda, no child is safe. Before we dive in, join the TPV free speech community. Klaus Schwab may have been stabbed in the back by his own bloodthirsty lieutenants, but make no mistake, the WF agenda is alive and well. The machine he built continues to lurch forward, powered by the same cocktail of godlessness, technocracy, and elite depravity. There is no better example than Yuval Noah Harari. They call him the prophet of Davos. And when he speaks, the globalists faithful listen. His twisted doctrines echo through the halls of power, trickling down into media, education, finance, and governance. What starts as a white paper in Davos becomes policy in Washington, propaganda in Hollywood, and indoctrination in your child's classroom. Harari is a mouthpiece for their new world religion. One where control is sacred, truth is dangerous, and the elite's favourite vice is never far beneath the surface. Prepare for a barrage of pro-pedophilia content from the mainstream media following Harari's recent announcement that it's perfectly natural and must be celebrated. Nothing
See, perfectly natural and must be celebrated.
nature has a purpose, and nothing that exists.
This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. I'll go to it, maybe go to a verse up here. Nope, I'll start at verse 25. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. All right? So he spake great words, man. Okay? And he's been talking about he knows better for centuries now. Okay? And he's grinded the children of Israel, the Israelites, okay? Everywhere you see the Israelites, we're at the bottom getting farmed, okay? He's grinded, he's wore us out, okay? To enrich himself. And what did he do with those riches? Okay, did he establish righteous order in the planet? Okay, did he further life, or did he figure out a way to pervert it even more so? Okay, he's been talking about when you look into Malthusianism, he's been talking about the earth has got too many people in it for centuries, man. All right, like he knows what the hell is going on. Like he understands nature in its entirety. You know a small sliver of it. Okay, you know just enough for you to develop those weapons where you are going to go to war with one another and be destroyed. Okay, that's the limits to your knowledge. Okay, but he is very, very wise, comparatively speaking, man, but he's not wiser than the Most High. Okay, and it says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. All right, so that's what's coming. He's changing the times, he's changing the laws, and he's saying it boldly, man. Okay, You know, it says, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. And that time is basically up. All right. Any day now, any week, any month, you know, this thing could flip over. Okay. Where Jacob's trouble is basically in full swing, and y'all are going to be caught off guard. Those of you that have a sleepy mindset. Okay. You only click on videos when the title sounds interesting, or you know it's something that is in the realm of entertainment to you. But this is not entertainment. Okay, we're doing a very important job warning of these people, man. All right. There's a reason the Lord associated this guy with red, Edom. Okay, red is in nature. Red means warning, caution. All right. It says, I'll play some more of this.
Exist is unnatural, declared Harari on May the 17th, before declaring Happy International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia and Transphobia, before instructing the world to dig.
Hold on.
Exist is unnatural, declared Harari on May the 17th, before declaring Happy International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia and Transphobia, before instructing the world to dig underneath and liberate the rest of the niche and taboo sexualities.
Darwin is the kind of prophet of sexual liberation. If I think about the liberation of gay people, of LGBTQ people, then if you dig underneath, you eventually find Darwin. For centuries upon centuries, gay people were persecuted and oppressed because of this mythological idea about sex. That sex was created by God for the purpose of procreation. And if you use sex for anything else, you're sinning against the purpose of the thing, so you must be punished. And then Darwin came, and Darwin said, in biology, there are no purposes. Nothing has any purpose in biology. In biology, there are only causes.
According to Harari and the World Economic Forum.
Right. So he's saying that you have no purpose, man. Okay. Now, do the scriptures align up with that? Huh? Genesis 1:27. So the Most High, or the powers, created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High, or the powers, created he them. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and the power said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. So that was a commandment. Okay? And he's telling you that there's no purpose. You know, it's purposelessness. You know, whatever happened, it is natural. No, it's not. Okay? If everything is natural, then there's no such thing as unnatural. That means, you know, anomalies are not a thing. You know, there's no such thing as anomalies or one-off, but there is. You know, it says, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So we're supposed to set things in order. Okay? We are. All right? It was a precept I was thinking of. It may come back to me, but you see what kind of demonic agenda is at play here. All right, just rebel against the Most High. You know, what does the scripture say about the fool? In Psalms 53:1, it says, the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. Because you know they've already done some wickedness already. If they're getting out and saying this boldly and pronouncing it or announcing it, all right, they've already done it. Okay, they've been there. A lot of these kids just go missing. You know, there's a lot of missing in America. What about worldwide, man? Okay, a lot of these jakes in these African countries, there ain't nobody reporting them missing, man. You know. They said the Most High looked down from heaven upon the children of men, to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek the Most High. Every one of them is gone back. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. And now you see why the Lord in the ancient world got to a point where he said, I'm gonna flood everything. You're too out of pocket. Okay? You're doing way too much. You know, you've become a danger to life itself in its entirety, and that's where we are now. Esau has become a danger to all life now, not just to himself, not just to the other nations, but the earth, the animals, everything. You're a problem, man. Okay, a problem the Lord is going to send his son back to solve swiftly. All right. It says every one of them is gone back. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Okay, these are supposed to be the wise men. Okay, but here they are telling you planting trees that is not helpful for the earth's health. Okay, Bill Gates is calling you a idiot. Do you want to be a part of the idiots or the ones that follow the science? Well, you made up science. Okay, but science just goes into knowledge. But when they say science, they're talking about a religion. Okay, they won't tell you that part, but it is a religion. You know, this obsession with guys like Darwin and Isaac Newtons and the Einsteins and all of that. You know, that's their priest. Okay, and what do they specialize in? Witchcraft, the editing of nature, editing of what the Most High already said was good. That's what science is, man. Okay, when they say science. All right. It says verse 5, there were they in great fear where no fear was, for the Most High scattered the bones of him that encampeth against thee. Thou hast put them to shame, because the Most High hath despised them. All right, now I'm gonna go back, okay, to Genesis again. All right. Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, and it says, and Yahweh saw that wickedness. Let me just make sure it says God in the capital G-O-D, but I believe the word there is Yahweh. Yep, Yahweh. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. Okay? We're back. We're back to that again. Okay? This is what the rainbow means. I'm not going to flood the earth this time. I'm going to hit it with fire this time. And Sodom and Gomorrah was the precursor, okay, the preview of what's going to happen on a mass scale. All right? It says, and God, the Most High, Yahweh, saw that the wickedness was great in the earth, and that every imagination, the thought of his heart, was only evil continually. That means there was no end in sight to the wickedness that they were planning on doing. Okay, they were already doing a bunch of wickedness, and they planned on turning it up all the way up, man, to 10, you know? And the Lord looked down and said, nope. And then it says, verse 6, and it repented the Lord Yahweh that he had made man on the earth. The Lord changed his mind on all of creation, man, you know? And by the way, when he says changed his mind, that means he went back, you know? That means that does not mean that he cannot that he was subject to change, you know, because a lot of Christians will try to say that say to go into the whole free will thing, you know. But the Lord knew from the beginning what was going to happen, okay? Because again, you have to understand, this is a power that exists above time, okay? He's outside of time and space and all of these things that our finite brains can understand. Okay, so when it says he repented, that means he went back, okay, on his creation, and he said, I got to do a reset. Okay, but this was all written, okay, to happen all the way going back from when he chose Adam from when Adam went off, okay, and then wickedness started flourishing, okay? It says, and they repented the Lord Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. So the Lord experiences emotions, man. This is part of the story, okay? It says, and the Lord Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created of the face of the earth. All right? So he said, nope. Factory reset the whole earth, all of the animals, save who? Noah. 8 souls. And the animals he chose to bring back. Okay? It says, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. All right? But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh. And Noah represents the elect. Okay? Well, he was the elect back then. Okay? And that's who we represent today, Noah. All right? There's a spiritual ark being built because the Lord is pissed off, because this is what's going on. What do you think has been going on behind the scenes if they're promoting this openly on the world stage?
Nothing on this earth has any purpose. God is dead. Jesus is fake news. And humans are hackable animals to be culled and controlled by the globalist elites. The battle against Christianity is undeniable. The battle against Christianity is undeniable. Powerful global forces orchestrated a covert takeover of the Vatican, installing Pope Francis to steer the church towards upheaval from within. This same shadowy influence has manipulated leadership at the highest levels of government during both Obama and Biden's administrations. Now, the elites are upping the ante, determined to wipe Christianity off the map in the next few years.
So what is the most common portrait in the world? What is the most famous face in the history of humanity? It is the face of Jesus. I mean, there are more portraits of Jesus than of any other person in the history of the world.
And it's
billions
not,
and billions.
And it's not the actual Lord, okay? When they say Jesus, you know who they're talking about. The blue-eyed, white-haired devil. That is the most prominent image, okay? The face, when you see that face, every nation, every tongue, they all recognize it. And it's really idolatry to the Edomite hegemony, okay? To their empire, all right? They have an image associated with things that they use to gather the nations together, man. Okay? This is why the Lord's got to come back, and why it says they're going to be wailing when people see him. Okay? It ain't just because there's going to be giant ships. They're going to see, oh, he don't look nothing like that. Okay? We were reading that last night at camp in Wisdom of Solomon 5. You know, I'll go to it real quick. I'm making this kind of long, but Wisdom of Solomon 5:1, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. Okay? That's why is that going to happen? Because he don't look like the image that everybody has in their mind, including a lot of so-called blacks. They think the Lord has stringy, blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, verse 4: we fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints? All right. So that's what's coming, man. It's more on this video. I'll probably maybe I'll do a part 2 to this, you know.
Produced over centuries in cathedrals and churches and homes, and fully 100% of them are fictional. There is not a single authentic, truthful portrait of Jesus anywhere. We have no portrait of him from his own lifetime. The Bible doesn't say a single word about how he looked like. There is not a single word in the...
See? You see? The Bible doesn't say a single word about how he looked like. Now, how many times do we have to go through Revelation 1, you know, Daniel 10, you know? Like these devils just straight up lie to you, man, okay? And they lie to you about everything, man. Everything. Basically, if they're talking, they're lying. Okay? As the scriptures say, the wicked are estranged from the womb as soon as they be born and speaking lies. You know? Goodness gracious. They can't even tell you what a woman is. That's how ridiculous the gaslighting is here, man.
The Bible, whether Jesus was tall or short, dark hair or blonde or bald, nothing. All the images, and you know, one of the most famous faces in history, it all comes from the human imagination. And it's still very successful in inspiring people and uniting people. Could be for good purposes, you know, charity and building hospitals and helping the poor, but could also be for bad purposes. Crusades, persecutions, inquisitions.
Because in a world without God,
No, that's the Edomites that did that. Okay? You wicked. Anyway, man, I'll end it here. Maybe I can do another part 2 to this and do a little sit down with it, you know, and had a video on the screen where we can kind of part it. Because there's so many scriptures and precepts on this, man, why he got to be taken out. Why the Lord's going to hit it with fire, man. Okay? Rightfully so. Anyway, ending it there, man. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachak Shalom. On to the next.